Hi, I'm May Añana and I will give my understanding about the culture. For me, I understand culture as a treasure that is part of our collective memory of our perception of ourselves. It is the acquired pair of glasses through which we see life. Culture is something that unites people. Culture is us. We make it, we shape it as we love it to be. It is a call for individuals to agree upon some common values that bind them in harmony. The more we know about the culture of others, the more open-minded, tolerant, and global we become. Our cultural traits, values, and beliefs are different and diverse. However, it is the respect and understanding we foster that make us truly human. That's all. Thank you.
What is culture? It involves national, regional, provincial, and community identities. It creates artifacts we can experience like language, art, fashion, food, stories, and literature. But culture is much more than that. Culture gives us our framing for the way we see and experience the world. It dictates meaning to the things like our gestures, facial expressions, body language, and personal space. It creates the connotation behind tones of voice, volumes of speech, and our experience and emotion of colors. But yet, it is also deeper than that. It defines our concept like what does it look like to be respectful or polite, how to be a good friend or a good student, or how a teacher should teach, what form of leader would I follow, and for that matter, what kind of follower should I be or should I follow at all. Culture defines how late is too late, and what are reasons are good enough reasons. How do you build trust? What roles in life do parents and their children play, and at what age does what sort of responsibility set in? And yet, culture goes deeper than that. It helps us to shape our versions of right and wrong. It creates our biases for and against it, builds our expectations around what should and shouldn't happen in any given context.
So, good day everyone. We are group 3 and my name is Charry Matbagon and my partner is May Añana, and our topic for today is about understanding culture and cultural diversity. So, I'm going to tackle cultural diversity. So first, what is cultural diversity? So, cultural diversity or multiculturalism refers to a society or group that is made up of many different people. So this includes people from different countries, different places, and religions. So, ang cultural diversity is makita nato sa mga workplaces that includes employees. Nagikan sa lain na backgrounds, fostering an environment where different perspective natin is kanang gi-value or giuban po sa mga proseso sa pagbuhat o desisyon. So, let's say sa countries like Spain, ang ilang gibili na to is that ang religion which is Christianity na some is kanang ang ilang language which is like 1, 2, 3 ang ilang apelido na na-adapt na to until now. So, cultural diversity is about respecting our differences and celebrating what other cultures can offer to society. So, mga dyan na ang pinaka-importante. So, nga naman sad nga importante ang cultural diversity. So, according to researchers, 1/3 of the world's major conflicts have a cultural dimension. So, cultural diversity is necessary for peace, sustainability, and development. Learning about Different cultures help us understand different perspectives and helps dispel negative stereotypes and biases against different groups. Cultural diversity makes our society a more interesting place to live. So, additionally, cultural exchange programs and multicultural events nagpakita ko na siya ang pag-akugi na isulang ang pagsabot o pag-appreciate sa diverse culture. So, cultural differences should not separate us from each other.
Good day everyone. So now let's proceed to the second topic, which is the 4 basic elements of cross-cultural communication, which will be reported first by Kristine Marcojos.
What is cross-cultural communication? It is a field of study investigating how people from differing cultural backgrounds communicate in similar and different ways among themselves, and how they endeavor to communicate across cultures. Or in simple words, cultural communication is the practice and study of how different cultures communicate within their community by verbal and nonverbal means. And also, cultural communication can also be referred as to an intercultural communication or and cross-cultural communication. There are 4 basic elements of cross-cultural communication, which are awareness and preparation, humor and openness, language, and nonverbal communication. First, we have the awareness and preparation. Cross-cultural communication involves understanding and navigating differences in language, customs, and behaviors to foster effective interactions. Awareness is key. Educate yourself about diverse cultures, their communication styles, and values. Preparation includes learning basic phrases, studying cultural norms, and staying open-minded to avoid misunderstandings. Practice active listening, adapt your communication style, and be sensitive to nonverbal cues. Embrace diversity to build stronger connections and promote effective cross-cultural communication. Humor and openness. Humor can be a powerful tool in cross-cultural communication, but it requires caution. Be open to shared laughter, but avoid jokes that may be cultural insensitive. Embrace lightheartedness to build rapport and use universal humor that transcends cultural barriers. Openness involves being receptive to different perspectives, asking questions, and showing genuine curiosity. Foster an environment where cultural differences are celebrated, creating a positive and inclusive atmosphere for effective cultural communication.
So let's proceed to the third one, which is the language. Verbal communication is how people most explicitly convey information from one person to another. So knowing how to speak different languages greatly empowers people to connect across cultural divides. So importante jud to understand and respect the language of other people's culture that we are interacting with. So, pwede tang mo-learn of few phrases or mga words nga magamit nato in bridging the communication gap sa ato ang istorya. Lastly, the nonverbal communication. Sometimes, body language, such as eye contact or facial expressions, might be all it takes to communicate certain information across cultures. So, nonverbal cues, such as body language, ang atong facial expressions, ang atong gestures, kaya nag-vary ni siya across cultures. So, we have to be aware of these differences to avoid misunderstandings pod. For example, kanang direct eye contact. So, some culture is gi-consider na siya as a sign of respect. However, naapoy mga cultures na gi-consider na siya as disrespectful or confrontational sa uban. So, we should understand these cultural differences to avoid misunderstandings and foster effectively cross-cultural communication. So all in all, by considering these four basic elements, we can enhance our ability to communicate effectively across cultures and foster mutual understanding and respect. But we have to remember that effective cross-cultural communication requires openness, respect, and a willingness to learn and adapt.
Adaptation is a process which individuals or group adjust their behaviors, beliefs, and values to fit into a new culture environment. This can involve learning and incorporating new customs, language, and social norms while navigating the challenges of culture differences. It is a dynamic process that requires flexibility and open-minded to successfully integrate into a different culture context.
So, today we are going to talk about the process of cultural adaptation. So, what is an example of adaptation? So, cultural adaptation would be a general etiquette and business interaction in some cultures. Oh, yes. It is the norm to share a meal over business interaction, as opposed to formal business meetings that are common in their areas. So, an example of cultural adaptation would be general etiquette and business interactions. In some business interactions, as to opposed to formal business meetings that are common in other areas. So next is the four stages of cultural adaptation. So it takes places in four distinct stages, which is the honeymoon stage, the culture shock stage, the recovery stage, and the adjustment stage. So, why is cultural adaptation important? So, it is important because it is necessary to adapt as it helps an individual accept the new changes and take ownership of their environment. It also enables one to overcome the frustrations that may come with moving to a new place. Thank you.
So my topic for today is about developing organizational and personal cultural competence. And I am Alexsa Madrid, your first reporter. So cultural competence is a critical state element in today's dynamic and diverse workplace. It encompasses the ability to interact effectively with individuals from different cultural backgrounds, fostering an inclusive and collaborative environment. Importance of cultural competence. Cultural competence is not merely a concept, it is a strategic asset for organizational success. Embracing diversity contributes to higher employee satisfaction. Improve problem solving and a workplace culture that thrives on innovation and adaptability.
So the next is the personal development steps. So individuals can enhance their cultural competence through these three steps. The first one is the self-reflection. So self-reflection, using this, is taking time to introspect allows their individuals to identify their biases, beliefs, and cultural perspective. It is a crucial step in understanding one's own cultural lens and how it may influence perceptions. So the second one is exposure to different cultures. So actively engaging with diverse cultures help broaden perspectives. So this could involve travel, interacting with people from various backgrounds, or participating in cultural events. So exposure fosters empathy and a deeper appreciation for differences. And the last one is continuous education. Uh, and the last one is continuous education. Of course, this is I think this is the most important. So staying informed about different cultures, histories, and social dynamics is the key. So this can
This can be achieved through reading, attending workshops, or taking courses. So continuous learning ensures that one remains open-minded and kanang dali nila ma-adapt ang ever-evolving global landscape. So embracing a growth mindset and being open to learning from diverse perspectives are the key to personal development steps. So the last one is the benefits of cultural competence. So a culturally competent workplace reaps numerous benefits. This includes the three of this one. First is to improve teamwork, the second is enhance creativity, and the third one is access to broader markets. So the first one, improve teamwork. A cultural competence fosters an inclusive environment where individuals appreciate diverse perspective and working styles. So, ang kaning understanding kay mag-promote ni siya og effective communication, cooperation, and collaboration sa teams. So, agani siya is mag-lead siya nga mo improve ang productivity and innovation. So, the second one is to enhance creativity. So, cultural diversity brings together a variety experience, ideas, and approaches. So, in a culturally competent workplace, ang mga employees ay more likely maka-feel sila empowered nga makakontribute sila through sa ilang unique nga insights. So, this rich tapestry of the ganing ilang perspective kay mag-spark ni siya creativity, so mag-result ni siya kanang innovative solution and approaches to challenges. So, the last one is access to broader markets. So, ang pag-understand o pag-respect sa diverse culture is a kind of a strategic advantage sa isa ka globalized world. So, a culturally competent organization kay better equipped siya if mag-navigate og international markets, establish meaningful connections with a diverse customer base, and tailor products or services para ma-meet ang needs sa kanang kadaghanan. Para ma-meet na to ang mga needs sa mga tao. So, this can lead to increase, maka-lead ni siya ganang mo increase ang market share o ang business success sa usa ka organization. So, organizations that prioritize cultural competence position themselves as a leader in a globalized world. So, that's all.
Key skills for cultural competence. Developing cultural competence requires honing specific skills including empathy, active listening, adaptability, and effective cross-cultural communication. First is empathy, seeing and feeling the situation of another, walking in another person's shoes or seeing the world as that person sees it. Pagsabot sa usa ka tawo, sa usa ka perception sa tao and the conclusion of what that person draws about his or her life experiences. Dili na pasabot mo-agree juga sa tanan sa iyang perception and conclusion, but at the very least, you're able to see the other person's position, which is makaiba ka unsa na feel sa usa ka tawo o unsa jud ang iyang na-experience. So, unsa iyang gi-share nimo, which is you have to know what other people feel. Second is active listening. Actively listening to an individual allows you to learn about person's culture and experiences, entail thinking about the feeling behind the content or the emotion involved. The emotion gives evidence of the real intent of the conversation, which will help you identify if the person is upset, inquisitive, or acting on another emotion, and allow you to respond appropriately, which is active listening is essential. Okay, if you listen to others, kung magstorya ang uban, you can have focus o makasabot ka sa iyang perception or conclusion, which is right. Third is adaptability, the ability to adapt and understand other culture, to appreciate other cultures, and successfully interact with them within your day-to-day work environment, which is pag-adapt mo kung unsay mga behavior or mga ways nila para dili ma-misconception. Fourth is effective cross-cultural communication. Cross-cultural competence refers to your ability to understand people from different cultures and engage with them effectively. As what I've said, and not just people from one culture that you studied for years. Having cross-cultural competence means you can be effective in your interaction with people from any culture. Helps you develop the mutual understanding and human relationship that is necessary achieving your professional goals. So it's very important to know other cultures. These skills from organizational strategies for developing cultural competence. Organizations can cultivate cultural competence through comprehensive training programs. Second is inclusive hiring practices. And third is implementation of policies that celebrate diversity. So, comprehensive training programs are to establish a clear understanding of cultural competency and to define specific objectives for participants to achieve. To achieve these goals, it is essential to conduct true training needs assessment to identify the specific goals and outcomes of the programs. This assessment helps determine the knowledge gaps and the areas of improvement that need to be addressed in the training. By fostering cultural sensitivity, programs can avoid perpetuating stereotypes, biases, or discrimination, and instead promote inclusivity and equality. So, if we have maka-avoid stereotype, biases, and discrimination, it is important to train ourselves, which is makaon pa dyan atong effort o unsa dyan atong talent. Second is inclusive hiring practices. Inclusive hiring translates to improve employee retention and productivity, and a host of other organizational benefits. The inclusive hiring process actively recognize diversity and embrace a wide range of qualities and perspectives that candidates bring to the organization. It's not simply but are recruiting people from underrepresented backgrounds or with disabilities in an effort to tick off a box. Instead of inclusive hiring practices aim to level the playing field for all the applicants in order to fight against the recruitment bias and any form of discrimination. Hiring practices threaten company reputation, which attacks talent in competitive market, creates the foundation for diverse and inclusive workforce that also mirrors the customer base. The third is the implementation of policies that celebrates diversity. Organizations have a culture of policies, procedures, programs, and processes, and incorporate certain values, belief, assumptions, and customs. Organizational cultures largely echo mainstream culture in its sense of time orientation, perception, and use of time. An organizational culture may not lead to itself to cultural competence, so that's why where skills building comes in. A culturally competent organization brings together knowledge about different groups of people and transform it into standard policies and practice that makes everything work. It is able to create an inclusive community that promotes equity and social justice for all its residents.